Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Andy here. I went from depressed and suicidal to living a life of abundance and joy. If I can do it, you sure as hell can too. Your goals are not stupid. For the longest time in my own life, when I was in my 20s, I had a lot of goals and hopes and dreams and things that I wanted, but I told myself that I wasn't allowed them, that they were stupid, that they were bad, wrong, silly, shallow, dumb, and I told myself that I wasn't good enough to achieve the goals or the hopes or the cool things that I thought I wanted in my life. And when I got to about 28, I had essentially a midlife crisis, but it had been building up for a long time. And I broke up with my girlfriend at the time because I wasn't particularly happy, and I'm not 100% sure that she was either. And I went down this path of self-improvement. I made friends. I went out and learned how to talk to women. I learned how to have sex. I learned BDSM. I learned about goals and hobbies and how to set and achieve things. I started living a life that was more on my own terms and doing more of the things that I wanted to do. But when I was doing all of this, between the ages of about 28 to maybe 30, maybe 31, I felt a lot of guilt. You might call it lifestyle guilt, but I was just about to hit my 30s and I didn't really have a good job. I was in debt. All of my friends had really good jobs. A couple of them were getting married. One of them had a child. And I was there feeling like the thing that was most important to me was having sex and figuring out how sex and sexuality and my sexuality and how to interact with women and all of that, I felt like that was the most important thing to me. But I told myself stories and I judged myself for it and said, this is stupid, this is shallow, I really should be getting my life together, I'm about to turn 30. I can't be the guy walking around outside learning how to talk to women. I can't be the guy going on dates and having sex and exploring that. I felt like that stuff was shallow and silly and I should get my shit together and get a job and find a girlfriend and settle down and start taking myself seriously. And a lot of my coaching clients feel like that, particularly the men that come to me, and especially the men that are in their 30s and maybe they have a decent job. Maybe they don't, it doesn't really matter, but at this point in time, the most important thing to them is learning how to interact with women, learning how to have sex, learning how to have relationships, learning how to build all of that stuff. But they put a lot of pressure on themselves that they should be doing something more worthwhile. They shouldn't just be going out there and having sex. That's shallow. Some of my female clients, and especially my female friends, have worried or expressed to me that they worry that the sex or the BDSM that they want to have is bad or slutty or perverted or wrong, and basically they feel guilty for the things that they want to work on or improve or explore or try. And this doesn't just apply to sex and relationships. I felt that when I first started making money, money was bad. I thought that money is the root of all evil. Capitalism is bad. All of that kind of, misunderstanding of what money actually is. But the point is, I had a lot of guilt around wanting to be able to pay my own bills from coaching. I felt very guilty anytime I would put my prices up. I felt bad about saying, I want enough money to be able to pay the bills. I felt bad about saying I would like a little bit of extra money, then I can spend it on nice things. I can support my girlfriend, I can give some to my friends, and I can give some to homeless people. I felt guilty about wanting a little bit of extra money. And I felt like my goal of making more money wasn't worthwhile, that it was shallow, dumb, bad, evil, or that it would take me away from a spiritual path or take me away from being loving and kind to other people. When I first started taking my appearance more seriously and putting effort into the clothes that I wore, wearing some accessories, going to the gym and losing weight and going and working out, I felt a little bit self-conscious and I worried about whether or not these goals of mine were shallow, whether it was shallow to focus on your appearance, whether it was conceited or self-obsessed. And lots of my coaching clients feel like that. Maybe some of you listening might feel like that. Sometimes we judge our goals and you might feel like your goals are too small or too pathetic to really matter. Quite a few of my coaching clients feel like that. They might be depressed and they just want to learn to work through it, and then they beat themselves up and say, I should be out there getting a girlfriend or having friends or building a business or having a lot of sex or doing something cool. I shouldn't just be trying to leave the house every day. That's pathetic. But baby steps are how you achieve any goal, especially at the start. When I was depressed, when I was in my early 20s, what helped me work through my depression was just having really tiny little goals like, I'm just going to do the dishes today. I'm just going to vacuum the house today. And starting really small, even though it felt very pathetic to have a goal of, I will get out of bed and wash the dishes. One guy in my coaching group right now is starting very small. He's just making small talk with strangers to learn to be more social. And some days in the coaching, he has felt a little bit like I'm barely doing anything, especially compared to some of these other guys in the coaching program who are doing crazy things. But I make it clear to him, and I make it clear to everyone else, and I make it clear to all of you that all progress is progress, no matter how big or small it is. In the coaching program, we celebrate the tiny baby steps as much as the massive, crazy victories. You will sometimes hear me do the same thing on this channel. I will read out an email that I've gotten from someone or a comment where they have started going outside and talking to strangers, or they have just started taking their appearance a little bit more seriously, the initial baby steps. And I will celebrate those wins as much as someone who makes $50,000 in a month or has a wild sex orgy with a bunch of people who tell him that he's amazing and blah, 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 and it's amazing. The small wins are as important to me and to you as the big wins. With the goals that you have, it can also sometimes be very easy to judge yourself and say things like, normal people don't care about this thing or this goal, so it's stupid of me to care about it. It's shallow of me to care about it. It's not worthwhile because most people don't care about this. It's too esoteric or too weird or too outside of the norms of society, and I shouldn't really care about this, or I shouldn't pursue this goal. I should just leave it alone and just live a normal life and just be happy. But your goals are sacred. I want whatever you want. And as long as it isn't hurting anybody else, if it's something that you want, how could it ever be stupid or shallow or dumb? There's a book that I love called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, which was written by a nurse who watched a lot of people, thousands of people die. And she summarized the top 5 regrets that she saw people have most commonly. And the number one, the most common regret was, I wish I'd lived a life more true to myself instead of the life that others wished for me. And one of my favorite people of all time, Nick Vujicic, who is the man that I have talked about a few times on the channel who was born without any arms and without any legs. He said, the greatest gift that you can give the world is yourself. And that means being you, having the integrity to be honest with yourself about what you want, and then having the courage to live that life, even if some people don't approve of it. Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. You are the only person who can be you. Go be the best you that you can be.